Hey, what's up, y'all? It's your girl, Miss Abby94, and you already know what it is. I'm back at it again with the back at it again with another recap. Y'all, I've been gone a minute. Now I'm back with the jump off. We're in episode 4 of Colton's season, and I know y'all want to know how I'm feeling. You want me to break down what happened this episode, so you already know what you got to do. You got to stay tuned. Duh. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to my channel. If you've been keeping up with my channel, you know that I've been mostly live streaming the past couple of episodes of Colton's season, and again, y'all know doing live streams and trying to do recaps, it feels like overlapping content, but again, I know there is so many OGs, so many of my gang, and my army, Abby's army, as y'all are tentatively called right now, like to hear what happened broken down. So if you are one of those people, this is for you. Thank you to everyone who's supported. And if you're new and you're just finding out about me, please, I really appreciate if you subscribe, like the video, share the video, comment, and let me know what you think. I know this is the first time seeing me in a sit-down setting, and if you miss me, I'm back, you know? I told you I'll be gone, but I'm never gone for long, okay? Y'all know what's good. Let's get into this recap because there's a lot of drama. Because this is the first recap I'm doing of the season, I think it's really important for me to talk about how I'm feeling about Colton as the Bachelor. I did put up one video before the season started talking about how I feel about Colton and what he was going to be like as the Bachelor. And I basically said that I wasn't in the season for him. I was watching the season for the women. And I can say, being 4 episodes in, that Colton is impressing me a lot more than I expected. I expected this to be a dry dud of a season. I expected the women to be the redeeming quality of it. And I can tell that Colton has taken instances to show initiative, to show that he is leading the show, to show that he's the pillar of the show. And y'all know in history and how I feel, I like to see someone, if they're the lead, to lead the show. Make sure that people are being pulled along. Make sure we as viewers are being pulled along, that we understand who you are. We understand that you have some sort of want out of this, and that you are making sure that the show is being pulled along. And I think that as much as I don't want to give Colton his points, he's definitely doing a pretty good job of pulling us along this season. And this season has been nothing short of drama. I mean, just in the past couple of weeks, we've seen 2 villains between Catherine and Demi, who Demi will get into it. We'll get into it a little later. We've seen a host of diverse women. I mean, there's so many great girls. There's so many people. And I think we've seen him connect on a different level to each of them. So I'm definitely more impressed than I expected to be with this season. And it's crazy, but I think it makes me want to tune in every week, especially with y'all via the live streams. And it makes me want to dig deeper into what's really going on with these relationships. So y'all know I'm a really big reader of body language. I like to really assess what's going on, and I think Colton and the way he's handling this whole journey and experience is giving us a lot of room to critique. So what can I say? What can I say? What can I say? So I guess I'm here for it. But you know you can always still get dragged, Colton. Don't do that. I said in my disclaimers video that I don't want to just hear about Colton's virginity. I hope they don't make the whole season about Colton's virginity. And we haven't got our wish. They have been dragging that out. The first episode, the first night, a lot of the women asked him, "Why are you a virgin? Why have you been holding out?" And I really thought that I expected a few girls to ask him, because I know producers probably poach them and tell them, "Go do it, sis. Go do this, go ask him. Like, they don't care about you. But I expected a lot more of the women to not take that approach and to understand that, okay, if you want to stand out, if you want to build a relationship, probably don't ask somebody why they're a virgin the first time meeting them. That's a lot. That's a lot for anyone. So I was really surprised that so many were making it a storyline, and that's what I was hoping wouldn't become his storyline. We understand that this is a choice. He's expressed to us that this is something that is complicated, and has a lot of reasoning behind why he is. So to have the girls ask constantly why, and why, it's just, it doesn't leave room for us to kind of have that moment within relationships that he feels mostly connected to. And I was disappointed about that. And I'm really not liking that they're really focusing the season on being that, on being the virgin and this and that. Like, I want to see more of Colton. I want to learn more about Colton. I don't want to just think that he's the guy who played his way into this role as he did, as I've called him out for doing. But that's what we're getting. So I'm disappointed in that regard, but I do hope that as the season progresses, we'll see a little bit more of Colton's personality. I hope so. I really do. So we start the episode and we know that tensions are running high. They've been running high, and who gets a one-on-one versus who gets a group date makes a major difference. Some of these women are just hoping and praying that they'll get the chance to get a one-on-one. We see at the top of the episode, Hannah B is just, you know, sitting on the couch with the rest of the women. Chris Harrison comes in and directly asks Hannah B, how did you feel about last week? How did you feel about everything that went down? Basically alluding to the beef that happened between her and Kaelin, and how she reported, you know, some things to Colton about Kaelin, and how it was a big mess of drama. And y'all already know how I feel. I don't like when the girls go back and forth and go snitch. I hate it. It's cardinal rule number 1. But I do think that it was very interesting to have Chris Harrison come in and be like, how do you feel about it? Like, as all of the other girls are sitting around, I was just like, oh, Chris, we petty today? Like, we just started petty? Oh, okay. Can we have a chance to wake up? Can the bitch brush her teeth? Do her hair? Fix her makeup? Like, we just getting right into the tea, huh? And she just responds pretty diplomatically. I noticed that Hannah tends to kind of switch up depending on who's around. When she's in confessionals, she speaks her mind. She does the most. But when she's around the group of women or the women that piss her off, she's a little different. She's a little more diplomatic, a little sweeter. I'm like, Hannah, we gonna need that same energy, okay? Keep that same energy. Thanks, sis. Chris Harrison, after he talks to Hannah, announces that they are no longer going to be continuing their experience here in LA. No, they are going to, do y'all want to know where they're going? They're going to Singapore. That's right, Singapore, one of the most expensive places in the world, on the 4th episode of the season. I said, Bachelor? Y'all been listening to me. Y'all know how I am. You know, all last season, I dragged them for their cheap ass trips and their cheap ass dates. And guess what? Week 4, they're going to Singapore? Bitch, do you know where they were week 4 last season with Becca? Do y'all recall? Park City, Utah. Do you want to go to Singapore or Park City? Leave it in the comments. I'm just saying. I don't know why the budget is so much different. That just makes me think they did our girl Becca dirty. But I am glad, I am ecstatic to see that The Bachelor is using their money. I am so happy. Take them to Singapore, take them to Paris, take them to India, take them all over the world, because that is what The Bachelor and The Bachelorette should be doing. But make sure it's equal on The Bachelorette. Thank you. Chris Harrison does drop off the date card, and the date card is a one-on-one for our girl, Tayshia. Now, Tayshia is one of the many Black girls on this season. I'm very excited because Tayshia is someone I've had my eye on, I've noticed, but she hasn't really gotten as much camera time. And I've been expecting, okay, Tayshia. It seems there's so many people who are a fan of her, and I'm trying to figure out what is it about Tayshia. So I'm very excited that she's getting this one-on-one, and I'm really, really hoping that we're going to get to uncover some more about her, some history about her, and understand if her and Colton are compatible. So here we are on the day, and we see them arrive at this place, and it says something about bungee, and they pan up, and I mean, they pan up, y'all. Like, the camera tilts. The cameraman was damn near on the ground panning up, and all you see is somebody on a platform above, and they're talking about they're gonna have to bungee jump. And I was just like, if this was me, I would have been like, you know what? Thank you, producers. Y'all got me messed up, okay? I have never heard a man scream this high. Come to find out, she had expressed in her package or to producers that she's afraid of heights. So this is very much set up to probably make her freak out. But instead of really freaking out and crying and doing the most as she could have, Tayshia decides that with Colton's support and Colton's encouragement, they are going to do this bungee jump. They are going to bungee jump off of this dang platform. So they make their way up. And I noticed that between Tayshia and Colton, they have a lot of chemistry. Chemistry that I didn't even know existed because we haven't seen her get camera time. So he's rubbing her shoulder, he's rubbing her back, he's telling her it's gonna be okay, because they're both freaking out, but he's trying to, do the I'm an athlete thing, like things don't faze me. He's trying to be the strong one, which I appreciate in this moment, but he's scared as hell too. That much is obvious. He's definitely scared. But I love the fact that they're very supportive to each other and that they both make their way up to that platform. They get on that platform and Colton jumps off first. And y'all, he said, is somebody dying? Is that a cat? She was on the platform shaking after he went when he screamed like that. She said he literally screamed like a girl. I was like, eventually she screams down to him at the bottom, Colton, I don't want to do it. And he screams up, you can do it, Tayshia. And so that encourages her, and she is ready. The people behind her, the coaches, kind of push her off. And I was at this moment very, very nervous for Tayshia because she didn't jump head first like I see most like bungee jumps, like you go head first. She like jumped foot first. So I was terrified that mid jump, she was gonna like have to flip over. That was gonna cause her like neck whiplash, and then I was terrified that the form was poor. I was terrified that she was going to get hurt, but thankfully, Tayshia, straightened out, and she screamed a little bit, but she got through it. And her and Colton met at the bottom, and again, he was like so proud of her. He was like, oh my God, you did it. I'm so proud of you. And I definitely think that date brought them together. I really enjoy when they do dates like this, really extravagant, big dates. As much as people like to say, oh, they don't get as much time to talk when there's all of this extravagant stuff going on. But I think when you come on The Bachelor, you expect a level of that. And if you don't get it, then it's kind of like, why did I come on the show if I'm not going to get the Bachelor experience? And I also think that these big, over-the-top dates give you the chance to really bond. They don't have much time, so they need these really crazy life-changing experiences to bond them together. And I saw in this moment what this bungee jump date did for them. They could not let go of each other after that. They were instantly hugged up on each other, holding on to each other, smiling. I mean, they were smitten, and I think that's a testament to what the date helped. Obviously, they had chemistry before, but I think the date was a perfect date for Tayshia to move outside of her fear, overcome that fear, and also get closer to Colton. I got to see a really good side of her. I got to see a good chemistry that it made me say, okay, I gotta look out for this. I do. So now we're seeing that Tayshia and Colton are on their way to their dinner portion of the day. It's a very romantic, seating, it's set up with food and wine, with food that they're not gonna eat. And they really start getting into it. I think Colton is so smitten with Tayshia in this moment. Like, y'all, he was literally just staring at her like there was nothing else in the room. I was really peeping the vibes, and I'm like, wow, he's really invested in Tayshia. He's really interested. He's lingering. He even asked her, I love your smile. How can you make me smile like that without even doing anything? Like, I just smile around you because it's you and because of your energy. Like, that is the biggest compliment I believe that anybody can really give, to be like, just you being around makes me happier, makes me more excited. And I think that's a testament to who Tayshia is and what Colton sees in her. So I definitely think that the dinner part started well, with him just telling her, I like your energy, I like your smile. Who are you? Like, where did you come from? I think that was so beautiful. So Tayshia takes the compliment in and just explains that, she's just always been a really happy person. But in the last about year and a half, it's been some of the hardest years of her life. And Tayshia discloses that she's been married and she recently got divorced. And that's what made the year and a half really difficult. And immediately Colton's face kind of shifts a little bit. I think he tried to recover his face and make it look like, oh, it's fine, I'm just listening. But I think in that moment, Colton's heart sunk a little bit. I think he wasn't expecting to hear that. I wasn't expecting to hear that. And Tayshia just really gets in and says that she was married for about 6 years to her first boyfriend, and they recently got divorced and it just didn't work out. We didn't really get too much clarity as to why they broke up. I think she just said like her husband didn't want to be married, which could mean he was uncommitted, could mean he was cheating, could mean a host of things. So there's not too much clarity there, but I still respect the fact that she didn't dive too deep in it, because y'all know how I feel about that. CC, all my feelings on Garrett. I like the fact that Tayshia was very diplomatic in saying that, he just didn't want to be married. Even though Colton kind of seemed a little disappointed by hearing that, I think as they continued to talk, he started to warm up to the idea and see that, okay, this is someone that took it seriously. This is someone that was married, yes, and divorced, and maybe that's not ideal in his mind. I don't know what he's looking for, but I do think, in a sense, that kind of knocked him down off of her team for a little bit. But I do think as they continued to talk, he reminded himself, this is Tayshia. This is the girl that I just said makes me smile and makes me want to be around her. He expresses some empathy and explains that his parents have been divorced before. So he's really just letting Tayshia know that, hey, thank you for sharing this. I don't judge you, even though I do think he judged her initially, but I think that he rationalized in his mind with what she told him, that she's over that situation, that she's happy to be there and be here with him. And Tayshia even talks about how if the divorce didn't happen, she wouldn't be able to come on the show. She wouldn't have met Colton. She wouldn't have bungee jumped, which I'm just like, okay, sis, count all of your blessings. I think they were able to connect on a deeper level and acknowledge that, things have happened for a reason for her, and now she's available to come on the show and potentially be his one. So he picks up the rose and basically offers it to her, and she accepts. And I think that they ended on a pretty solid ground. I think they started really, really, really hot and got us so invested in Tayshia. I do think that this could potentially hinder her winning, because I do think a part of him wants these very specific, like, idealistic qualities. But I do think that Tayshia has quite a long life in this game, and I'm very excited to see more. So we are back at the women's hotel room. Y'all, when they arrive in Singapore, they're giving us amazing views. I mean, everything looks good. They're in Fresh Markets. They are showing their hotel room. It's just expansive. It's just everything is telling me that they spent their budget. They listen to the black girl who watches The Bachelor, The Bachelorette, and they say, yes, we will spend that money. We will make our viewers proud. I'm so proud. The way y'all are going. The second date card comes, and a lot of the women are high alert. Hannah B, we know, is beefing with Kaelin. She not only is just beefing with Kaelin, she's beefing with a couple of the other women that she feels have a great connection with him. And she's saying in her interviews how she wants to date. She doesn't want to be overlooked. She wants that time. It's hard to watch girls go on a date and come back and be happy. And she knows what it's like to have a one-on-one and how far it progresses your relationship. Even though we know she choked on hers, but sure, sis. And so the date card comes and it is a group date and it basically has everybody and their mama's names on it. Everybody except for Kaelin. And I was just like, damn. Yeah. All of the progress we made with the budget and y'all just gonna revert, huh? Just throw everybody, just throw 10, 12 girls together or however many on a date, huh? That you couldn't split that up? Really, ABC? And the first part, they all run, and the first person who tries to get a hug from Colton is Demi. She's like all over him. And we're hearing Colton talk about how he's very much excited about where he is in a lot of the relationships, and he feels like he's progressing with a lot of the women, but he is concerned about some of the women who are a little more forceful with their physicality, who are a little more brash and bold. And then of course we see in that moment Demi's all over him. So I do think he's alluding to the fact that he's not as comfortable with women who are too forward and too sexual with him because he just doesn't know how to react. And so I think that doesn't bode well for Demi's game. So the first part of the day is them really like basically exploring. You know, every time they have, you know, no ideas for a date, they have them gallivanting all over whatever city they're in. So this is nothing short of that. All of the women and Colton are going from, you know, little booth to little booth, trying on things. And it's really just a big shit show. A lot of the women are trying to get his attention, pull him aside, you know, pull on his shirt like a little kid, pull his arm, and women are just trying to get any second, any time that they can get. Hannah B is getting a little irritated with that. She feels like she tries to pull him aside and he's not really paying her any mind because he's literally looking at 3 women at the same time, so he can't focus. And I think in these dates, it kind of becomes obvious who he's really invested in because that is where their eye will linger. So I'm seeing that he's kind of lingering around Cassie, he's lingering around Hannah G, he's lingering around Katie, you know, he's really lingering around certain girls. So it lets you feel like, okay, when you're in a pack of women, you can kind of see where the vibes are going. So it is just a shit show of these women trying to get his attention and failing, really failing. All of the girls are gathered around what I would describe as a fortune teller of some sort. Cassie and Colton sit down in front of the fortune teller and basically ask for a reading. And the fortune teller identifies that Cassie is a winter month and Colton is a summer month. And the translation to this is that in a past life, they were brother and sister. How to kill the mood 101. If any fortune teller told me that, I would be like, all right, it was good to know you, sir. Cassie is instantly like, she instantly clams up. She's just like, and he's kind of looking like, is it weird that I still want to make out with you? And I'm just like, the difference in the reactions is very telling. I think he heard that and he was like, that's kind of weird, but I'm still into you. And she heard that and was like, that's kind of weird. And I'm freaking out. This is weird. You start to see some of the women kind of smirk like, yeah, that is your past life sister. Get the hell out of here, girl. Like as if it's better for their game. So we definitely are getting a range of reactions, which I found very, very, very funny. They continue their path in this whole exploratory day and they see a sign that says leeches. Colton says, let's go into the shop and see what this is about. Courtney is she's just not here for it. She's like, are these FDA approved? Is this safe for us? Another part of the date where I would have been like, all right, I'll be back in America. Thank you so much. Eventually, a lot of the girls do become a little bit more comfortable with the idea. And we see them taking the leeches and mostly placing it on their bellies. Then we see an interview of Hannah B wearing her leech and saying, oh my God, I thought I left the leech in LA, but the leech followed me here, referring to Kaelin. And I was just like, that was good. Damn, she called you a leech, Kaelin. That's fucked up. So now we are at the cocktail party for the group date. And so obviously with the number of women that are on this date, they are competing for time. He talks to Demi first, and Demi really opens up about how she's having a hard time because her mom is getting out of prison and it's been really hard for her to see, someone close in her family go down for something that they did, but also just have that experience. And I think Colton really tries to be supportive in that moment and basically tell her like, wow, it seems like you really ride or die for your family. I think that's something I really enjoy about you. I think in this moment they are having a real conversation, but I do think that Colton was being very polite. I think it was very much like engaging with her and acknowledging how she's feeling and acknowledging the how difficult it must be to have a parent in prison. But I don't think that he was sitting there like, oh my God, I'm getting closer to my potential wife. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was really him being very much polite. But of course, Demi sees it as an opportunity to grab his face and kiss him. And, Colton, in this regard, he's weak. I mean, as soon as a woman puts their hands on his face, he's in. He's in. That's something Colton does very easily. He just be kissing all of them. And I'm like, you don't even know how to... You know what I'm saying? We see him speak to Cassie. Now, I would like to say they are speaking during their time, but they're pretty much all over each other at this point. I mean, Cassie tells him that she's been eyeing him all day. She was like really looking forward to getting him alone. And, she backed up that shit she was talking. She said, surfboard, all that shit she was talking before they left the house, she backed it up because he had his hand on her hip. He pulled her close and they just start making out. And I like to say that this is the most passionate kiss I've seen this season, because it got to the point where they were kissing and I was like, should I leave the room? Like, y'all need the room? Because I felt the chemistry through the screen. I felt like he was so into it and she was kind of like leading it a little bit, but giving him a little room to feel like he was leading. She's playing the game really well. I really do enjoy how Cassie is taking the lead on some of their chemistry and their connection and really like, filling it out and telling him like, I'm feeling you, but not doing too much. Cassie is a quintessential like chill, laid back, but go-getter. You know what I'm saying? Like, she doesn't do too much, but she does just enough. And that's why I'm definitely a fan of her. I like the way that she is approaching this. Damn, that kiss was, I was like, damn, Cassie sis. Whew. It's kind of hard to remember any girl after that. I was like, whoa. We're back at the cocktail party with the women sitting around, and Courtney is not having a good time. She's basically expressing how she feels like it hasn't been a good time. He hasn't been paying her any attention. Courtney felt like in the first half of the date, he didn't really come up and talk to her. He was probably lingering around the Cassies and Elises and all of that, like I explained before, and she peeped that. And this is something that I talk about a lot. I think a lot of these women, these are the things that we can't see after they've edited a show. We can't always see if things are obvious, if connections are super obvious. But I know that in the house, they're going to know who's the front runner, who's the top 4, top 5, who's the one he always is trying to talk to or be around or make out with. And that becomes obvious. And I think that Courtney noticed on the first half of the group date that he wasn't really, vibing with her. He wasn't making conversation with her. And then being at the cocktail party and having all of these probably 10 plus women have time and have him not come find her, she's getting insecure, she's getting in her head. And I think that there is some valid placed frustration from her, but I also think that as she kept talking, I'm like, okay, Courtney, I'm gonna need you to go find him, go grab him, go get your time. And I think she was getting so frustrated that she was just like falling into that, like where Chris, where he fell in, where he was just like, oh, you didn't come find me, and he started freaking out and doing the most. Like, I think that's Courtney this episode, where she's just getting so in her head that she's not taking the experience by the horns and going and getting her time. I'm like, sis, you didn't come on here to be weak or be all emotional. Boss up, go get the man, go get your time, and stop interacting with these girls who is just they're not looking out for your best interest. So I think some of the girls are trying to be like empathetic, like, oh, Courtney, it's okay, you'll get your time. But more particularly, Demi is just like, girl, like, okay, like, we're all getting time. Go grab him. Go grab him. Go do something. Go do that. Courtney is just like, you know what? I'm going to just wait it out. I'm going to be okay. I'm going to wait till he comes back down. And Demi's like kind of rolling her eyes, but she's trying to encourage her to go get him. So then Colton is like upstairs with someone else, and Demi decides that she wants to follow up on some of the time that she had before. You know, she had already told him about her mom being in prison and getting out, and she felt like they had a good talk. So she's like, let me go follow up with him and just basically tell him thank you for being so good when I told you that story. So she went and found him, basically told him, I just wanted to tell you thank you for being so open-eared and being so calm and kind about everything. And he was just like, of course they kiss some more, right? So Courtney downstairs, and she hears that Demi is getting another round of time. And she's frustrated. She's just like, I just was crying to this girl and telling her how mad I am that I haven't talked to him. And then for her to go steal another round of time, and like, who does she think she is? It's not cool. And I'm just like, at this point, I'm again thinking, Courtney, go find him. Go get your time. Because at this point, it's clear that maybe he's pulling away. Maybe he's not thinking of you as much, and that's the reality of the show. That's what it is. But you are noticing that, so go find him. Go grab him. What are you doing? Go after him. Now she decides, instead of confronting Colton, she wants to go confront Demi and see if she's talking to him in that moment. So she goes upstairs, sees Demi sitting in the room. She's not with Colton, and confronts her and says, okay, I just heard that you were up here getting another second round of time after I'd already confided in you that I was having a hard time and I hadn't talked to him. And of course, Demi is just like, okay, like, I don't care. You had a chance. You're not really doing much to help yourself. You're sitting downstairs. Courtney is just like, I feel like you are not mature sometimes. You're sitting here pretending to be my friend, and then you're gonna take the chance to like do some fraud shit that's gonna upset me even more. And it's just like, Demi ain't trying to hear it. Demi is not trying to hear, oh, I'm sad, I didn't get my time. Demi's like, girl, go get your time or I will get your time. And I can't say that I'm really not feeling the way they're fighting, but I'm not feeling the fact that Courtney is having such a difficult time, you know, taking it, going and getting her time. And I think this is Courtney trying to protect herself from looking like aggressive or coming off too forward. But I do think in this moment, it does come off like she's not helping herself to get time. She's just kind of relying on him to come find her. And at this point, that's not working, sis. So we need you to just go. And I think it's a waste of time to have you sitting up here arguing with Demi when Demi is clearly here to be an overhyped character, to press your buttons, and she's winning at pressing your buttons. Colton announces that the group date roles will be going to Demi. And he says that it's because he loved that she opened up about her mom. And I'm just like, Courtney says, she got you. She got you on this one. Kaelin is sitting back in her hotel room. She's talking to Tayshia, and they're just talking about what's some of the drama going on in the house. Kaelin mentions her and Hannah B have a tiff that they just can't seem to get over, that, you know, the last couple of weeks have put a strain on her relationship with Colton, and she's just like really annoyed, and she's just like, I know that me going on this one-on-one is gonna run Hannah the wrong way. And you know, they're just really reflecting on what's some of the biggest beef in the house. And I think that Kaelin is definitely mentally preparing herself to have this first one-on-one alone time with Colton. And I think that knowing Kaelin and how she's been doing in this game and in this show, I think she's gonna do her best to make sure that this is a memorable first date and to solidify herself on this season. So looking forward to see what they do. So Kaelin and Colton meet up, and of course, you know, it's always high energy, big hugs, big mood, big vibes. But the first part of this date is one of my favorite dates that they do on all of these seasons. And we see Kaelin walking up to a shop, and I know that this is about to be one of the shopping dates. Now, Kaelin gets into the store. They start, you know, talking to this very nice woman, and she's basically, you know, asking them little questions like, oh, is this your first date? Oh, da, da, da. And they are both just like, you know, giving minimal, chatting with this lady and telling her this is their first date together. And the lady's just like, oh my God, okay, we gotta pick out some cute pieces for you. So they start pulling out all of these dresses. Y'all know this is the date where Kaelin is about to get a bunch of stuff to rock and come back and stun on the girls. So Kaelin just starts trying on a bunch of dresses. She tries on this like fringe one. She tries on this really green wrap dress. Like Kaelin's just coming out and showing out. She said, I got body yaddy yaddy. Okay. Kaelin did not come to play with us. She said, you are going to see all of this, but I'm going to act like I don't know I got it. So Kaelin is definitely looking good in all of these dresses, and Colton is noticing. His jaw is dropping every time she comes out of the changing room. Of course, he announces at the end that, oh my God, I'm getting you all of these. Yeah, okay. Yeah, okay. ABC signed that check, but sure, Colton. Sure, you're getting her all of these. And he actually helps her pick out these like open toe tan strappy heels, and it's super cute, super cute. And of course she's gonna get accessories to go with it, and probably makeup and the whole nine. So basically she's just getting the chance to shop. She gets more than the freaking suitcase that they allowed them to bring, and I cannot wait till she enters the hotel with all of these bags and to see all of the women mad. As petty as ABC always is, they send Kaelin home in the middle of her date with like 10 bags. And she was being all extra dramatic, like the bags weighing 50 pounds. She'd be like, oh my God. Oh my God, I missed arm day. Oh, this is so heavy, this rock. It's like them people who get engaged and it's just like, oh, I can't lift anything. Can you grab that for me? Oh, I can't put my hands in water. The rock, you know what I mean? I can't. The women were just like, they were like so shook and so jealous. They were eyeing her. This would be the date that I want. Like, please tag me in, coach. Nicole, she's not feeling it. She's not feeling it in her interviews. Cassie is damn near crying, weeping in her interview, but of course she tries to throw in there that she's supportive of Kaelin getting it. So we're definitely getting the emotions that I love to see when they give this date, because this is exactly why they give this date. They know that it's going to make some of the other girls mad or sad, or feel like they're missing out, or feel like that girl is in the front, or just feel really jealous. Like, I want to come on The Bachelor and get some stuff to take home too. Kaelin does get dressed up in some of the stuff that she got, and now it's time for dinner. So they're seated at dinner, and it's a really pretty view. Like, I think the mood was definitely set that this is going to be opportunity for serious conversation and for them to really understand each other a lot better. So as the conversation starts, Kaelin really just talks about, you know, feeling like she is opened up to an extent, but there's so much more that makes her who she is. And Colton really just kind of probes her and says, okay, what do you mean? Like, you said there's more to you. What am I not understanding? And so this is where it gets really heavy, and Kaelin really starts to deep dive and talk about how she basically was a victim of sexual assault. So it was in college. She was at a party with some of her friends, and she was date raped. She was drugged. Her and her friends were drugged, and when she passed out, some of the fraternity brothers raped her. Two of them raped her, and along with her friend. And so she really just breaks down how that happened, how it kind of like impacted her, and how she kind of went through the process of trying to seek justice, and how that process kind of failed her. Only one person was really held accountable, and that person was expelled. They weren't even arrested, and the other people got away with it. And as I'm hearing this, I mean, in the live stream, there was a lot of talk about, oh, is this the right time to share it? Is this genuine and this and that? Kaelin is this, Kaelin is that. And I think all bets are off when it comes to this. I think it was incredibly brave for her to share this because it allowed us to put it back on the forefront. I think that sexual assault and rape, these things happen every day, and a lot of time the women are not believed. And for her to bring this on a platform like The Bachelor and speak about it, something so devastating, I was like, regardless of if you think it's the right platform or the right time or if she's being genuine or not, the conversation is being had. And I think it even caused me to reevaluate and see Kaelin is an incredibly strong person. I felt nothing but sincerity in that moment. I felt near tears. I couldn't remove my eyes. Through all of that, we have someone who has made it on, become Miss North Carolina, you know, become on The Bachelor, got a degree, got all of these things. And to know that there are some women who can't necessarily move on from that. I think it's a very important concept that she brought up. I thought that it was incredibly brave for her to bring it up on a date on The Bachelor on national TV when the whole stage is watching. I think it was sincere, and it was heartbreaking for me to hear that. And I personally hope that she is, you know, seeking outlets to really address that and has a great support system around her, because it was heartbreaking to hear. And I think that Colton he again handled this moment really well, and he expressed empathy and was just like, one of his ex-girlfriends, which I believe he was referring to Allie Raisman, was constantly being sexually assaulted and sexually abused. And he was like, it was so frustrating for me to see that and to be around that and to feel like you can't do anything. So he really hates it. He hates it so much. And I think that's a bonding moment that they had. And I knew that the setting of the date and how it was and where they are, I do think that their chemistry is kind of like this. Like, I think she has the potential to be in the top. I don't think she's like top, but I think that them having an opportunity, she does a really good job of creating opportunities for them to bond and really using her time, maximizing the use of her time. And in this moment, I saw her taking the time that she had, knowing that what this was going to mean, taking it and using it as a way for her to talk about something as big as that. And I personally, it had me thinking. I think it had Colton thinking. I think it brought them closer. And I think that there was no other outcome but her getting the rose like she got. And I think that this is setting Kaelin up for her to stand for a lot of issues. I think that Kaelin has been setting herself up to stand for a lot of things. So now, as the episode is winding down, it is time for the cocktail party for the rose ceremony. Now, a bunch of the women are nervous. They're feeling like, was it enough time during the dates? Did I get to really connect with him? We know that Kaelin has a rose. We know that Tayshia has a rose, and we know that Demi has a rose. But the majority of the girls are feeling like, I don't really know right now. So I think that this cocktail party is going to be very, very important in helping some of these women push their relationship to the point that it needs to be to get through another rose ceremony. We see him take Hannah G into his own private bedroom. Now, he's showing Hannah G around, and they're kikiing about how, oh, she notices that his bed is made. She's like, oh, you must be a neat freak. You must have OCD. He's like, yeah, I do. She's like, I do kind of have OCD too. So they're bonding over that. And then he just like leading her to the bed or whatever, and was like basically having her sit down. And she was just like, thank you so much for showing me such a private part of, you know, of your journey and for inviting me in here. And I'm just like, sir, what you think you up to, Mr. Virgin? They started making out, and I was like, oh no. Oh no. The only chemistry that I saw rivaling what they were doing up in this bed while they were rolling around in this bed was when he was kissing Cassie. Those are the only two where I feel like he is like everything else stopped in the world. And maybe Tayshia, just based on her date from earlier, she's probably the third in how I see this. But those two, he is like eyes closed, fully invested, pulling her on top of him. Like she's on top of him on the bed, making out, and they're rolling around. I'm just like, whoa. I think Hannah G is just constantly proving to be one of his front runners. He constantly reassures her, and I think she constantly needs reassurance, which has been annoying me, but not so much in this episode. So he's giving her the reassurance, and that lets me know that he values her, he sees her, he likes her a lot. And yeah, she gonna be around for a while, y'all. Like, she was throwing that ass in a circle. I said, is this ABC? So now we're back with the rest of the women, and again, we're hearing that Courtney she's having a hard time. She addresses Demi and tells her, I just don't like the way you handle things. You're not being mature about it. You're just not being considerate. And Demi doesn't really like that she checks her. She doesn't like that she's sulking around the house, that she's not taking it into her own hands. She doesn't like that she keeps trying to check Demi on how Demi is approaching things. And so Demi decides that she's going to tell Colton that Courtney ain't it. So Demi takes her behind to Colton and basically tells him that if there's any girl in the house that she wouldn't want him to be with, it's Courtney, because Courtney is the, quote, cancer of the house. Now, as many of you know, I have never had an issue with Demi all season. I've seen her for what she is. She's this huge, big character. She is the person that we love to hate, in a sense. And I always love the villains, because I love when they can have people shook and they're confident and they're doing their thing. And I think Demi has been playing that card well up until this point. The moment I started having an issue with Demi is when she won. Right here, broke the cardinal rule number 1, my cardinal rule number 1, Black girl who watches The Bachelor and Bachelorette's cardinal rule number 1, and that's don't be a snitch, bitch. Right? She broke that. Secondly, she's saying some really extra shit that I do not think applies to Courtney. Yes, Courtney has been annoying me. Yes, Courtney has not been taking matters into her own hand. Yes, Courtney could be doing a lot more to make this a better experience, but at no point was Courtney the cancer of the house. At no point was she super combative with you. Yes, she was condescending. Yes, she did all of that with her tone, but she was never at any point the cancer of the house. That signifies someone who is just toxic, someone who is hell to live with, someone who is probably, she claims that Courtney assaulted her or tried to assault her. It was just a lot of hyping up around that, and it made me feel like, why are you saying that about one of the Black women in the house? Her tone was even keeled. Courtney has never approached you on some rah-rah, want to fight you, pull your weave out, knock you over, knock you upside the head. She has never done that. Has she been condescending? Yes, but she's used her tone, she's used her words. And I don't think that that warrants her being called the cancer of the house. And it really irritated me to hear Demi not only take her behind to snitch on Courtney, but to say something as outlandish as that, as disrespectful as that. I'm just like, you're losing points in my book, and you're losing them fast. Finally, Courtney decides that, okay, I'm going to take matters into my own hands. I'm going to find Colton, and we're going to have a conversation. So she goes to find Colton, and she sits him down, and she's just like, he asks her, how are you doing? And she just says, to be honest with you, I've been having a hard time. I've been having issues with Demi. And she goes on to explain about what happened on the group date. Then Colton was just like, now that you brought up Demi just told me that you are toxic, you tried to assault her, and you are, quote unquote, the cancer of the house. And of course, Courtney was taken aback. Courtney was just like, what? No, if there's anyone in this house who's any of those things, it's her. If there's anyone in this house who is not here for the right reasons, it's her. And at this point, I'm thinking that she's snitching too. But I do think I give her a little more points than I give Demi, because she had to kind of rebuttal and she had to defend her own character. But she did still try to like bring up the issues going on in the house, which I don't like. So at this point, I'm annoyed with them both. I'm very much annoyed with Courtney because I feel like she's falling into a trap. She could be playing the game so well. Okay, he doesn't like you. Okay, he's not giving you attention. Go get that attention. Go get as many more weeks as you can. I think someone like Onyeka has been succeeding in that type of strategy, but I think Courtney is just, this week is not good for her. This week, she's gotten her head. So she basically tells him it ain't me that she's talking about, it's herself, because that is not me. She is not here for the right reasons. She's not a good person. You need to go check her. So Courtney leaves talking to Colton. Literally, they don't kiss. They barely even hug. So we know that while you spent all that time talking about another chick, you didn't even progress your own relationship. Courtney goes outside and she confronts all the ladies and was like, let's take a poll. Who here thinks that I'm the cancer of the house? And all the women are like, what? What? And Demi's like, that's one thing about Demi. She keeps that same energy. She said, obviously she knew that Colton just told Courtney what she said, but she said, I said that. And all the women were like, oh my God, Demi, why did you say that? And she's just like, I basically feel like Courtney has been whining. She's been condescending. She said a lot of mean things to me. She said that I'm trying to play God. She asked me, are we really the same age? Like, how old are you? She made me feel like, you know, I'm low and all of this stuff. And I'm just like, oh, please, please, Demi. You're trying to make it seem like you're so bothered by this, but this is just your reasoning for why you snitched. And I'm like, at least you had something to say. And so Courtney rebuttals and was just like, oh my God, yeah, I did say that because I tried to explain to you when you hurt my feelings or when you did something or your tone was in a way that I didn't like. And it's true. I feel like you act immature for your age sometimes. And then Demi was like, see, that's exactly what I mean. She was like, okay, you're acting immature right now. Maybe you should go take a timeout. And I was just like, oh, Courtney just sunned you, sis. I think in this moment, it just let me know that they are never going to be friends. They're both handling this very, very, very wrong. And I think in the end, it's going to end up biting Courtney in the butt more than it harms Demi at this particular moment. Now we're at the rose ceremony and the girls are all lined up. We know that we're coming in with a lot of high tensions. We know that there's so much going on, and we didn't even really get to check in on some of the girls that we're unsure of, like Tracy, Onyeka. We haven't heard much from Elise, but we assume she's safe. Heather, some of these other women that are in this cast who are not getting as much screen time. So now we're wondering who exactly is going to go home. A bunch of women start getting called and we're getting towards the last rose. And at this point, it's Onyeka, it's Courtney, and it's Tracy. And the last rose goes to Onyeka. In Demi's ITM, she's talking about how, you got kicked out, the bitch is dead, you tried to come against me and now your ass is going home. Basically trying to take credit for Courtney being out. And I just think that that's not the reason at all. I think that Courtney was out because their connection was only going to be sustained so long. And she got to that point where it was like, it's no longer about the talking. It's no longer about the, ooh, you're kind of cute. It's about, are you going to beat out some of these girls that I have real feelings for? And the fact that she found herself focusing on getting in her head and allowing that to hinder her getting that genuine time and trying to force a connection, trying to make that happen. I think that was the downhill. And to have them have that one-on-one moment talking only about Demi and not having any intimacy, I kind of saw it coming, and I don't think it has anything to do with Demi. I think Demi needs to chill. She needs to chill. She's on her high horse. She's really feeling herself right now. Really sad to see Courtney go. I think she's so beautiful. I think she's going to like leave the show. I think when she left filming, she probably like ran into her husband or ran into a million dudes who would try to date her because she's gorgeous and she's poised and she has a lot going for her. And I think that she's not going to have any trouble finding someone. And I think that she tried her best to keep her cool and her composure on this show and to be portrayed in the right light as someone who could communicate and was not combative, was not loud and all of these things. And I get what she was trying to do. And it frustrates me to think that somebody like Demi could take what she was trying to do and use it in such a way. It really irritates me. And I think she represented herself so well. I just don't think that this episode was good for her. I don't think it was good for her, but I still really like her. I still would love to see updates about her, and I really do wish her the best. She really held it down, and wow, you were always laid in slates. It's that shadow, the outfits, the hair, here for it, okay? Tracy was having some issues in the past week, getting in her head as well, irritating me as well. I think that Tracy lasted a lot longer than even I could have predicted. I actually saw Tracy getting out way quicker than she has. So I think that Tracy can be very proud in the fact that she made it further than a lot of women. She beat out a lot of women. And she made some sort of, she gave us something to remember her by. So Tracy gonna be good too. She will really be okay in these streets. There is so much drama to come, so much drama, and I think everybody is involved. We saw Nicole, we saw Onyeka, we saw Elise. Like, there is going to be so much drama. It seems like this season is just a lot to unpack. So I'm very excited to be doing recaps again. Thank you so much if you've gotten through the end of this. I appreciate you so much. You already know what it is. Please like this video. Please subscribe and turn on your post notifications, and leave a comment down below and let me know, what was your favorite part of this episode? How did you feel about Kaelin revealing such a huge story? How did you feel about Courtney versus Demi? Do you even care to see Demi in the rest of the season? Please let me know. I love to chat with you in the comments. I'm looking for suggestions for a name for all of you. Right now, we're tentatively called Abby's Armies, but there's so many in the poll. So if you have any suggestions of what I should call my favorite supporters, all of y'all, please leave it in the comments as well. If you want to reach me, hashtag BGwwTB on all social media sites, and I'd love to chat with you there. And y'all already know what it is, okay? Y'all be good this week, and I will see you in my next video, okay? Bye.